Hey, what's up, guys? It's the Indy Kid coming at you with the Orange Blazer, and this week I'll be recapping the Alabama and the Missouri games. Before we get into that, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit subscribe, and make sure you check out Talkin VAWLS each week. As Talkin VAWLS, there'll be some future football episodes coming up, and there will be post-game basketball with Vols, JP, and Dauber each week as well. So let's get right into it. Tennessee for the week. A great performance at Missouri, and then just basically the opposite last night. Kind of a Jekyll and Hyde week for the Tennessee men's basketball team. But, it's to be expected along the way. I think the other night against Missouri was just a top-notch performance. Really blew Missouri out from the get-go. Just a solid team effort. Defense was stout. Shot the ball well that night. Just things went really well. Played a really good game, and then last night it was just the opposite. And of course, you got to give credit to Alabama for that as well. As Alabama, they do have a good team, and I know about I know when they got the coach, a buddy of mine who is from up around that area of Buffalo. He said that Alabama is getting a good coach, so it doesn't surprise me to see Alabama is doing good, and I think Alabama's probably going to be a team that continues to get better as the year goes along and down the road, based on that they do have a good coach now. But the main thing with Tennessee, and we saw it last night, is it a case of, was this just Tennessee? Was it an off night, or is something figured out here? I think I'm going to say maybe more of an off night but they did things last night that they haven't done up to this point this year. They didn't shoot the ball well. They didn't defend well last night. And Rick Barnes was pretty critical of some guy. He didn't. He pretty much called him out for not bringing energy and stuff. And a big injury to Jaden Springer as well. Hopefully that's nothing too serious. From what I gather, it is an ankle sprain. So I can't imagine you'll see him Wednesday night at Arkansas, maybe next Saturday at Texas A&M. And again, that's speculation, just knowing the severity of an ankle sprain, knowing how long it can keep you out. But hopefully he's back sooner than later. It was definitely missed. His shooting was missed last night because Tennessee shot 31% from the field and 19% from three-point range. And that's definitely their worst shooting performance of the year. And, you see nobody really shot the ball well. Vescovi was 3 of 8 from three-point range, but he was 5 out of 15 overall, and Victor Bailey was 4 out of 14, and Keon Johnson 5 out of 12. So those guys, not great percentages last night. They were the leading scorers last night, but a couple things I think I would like to see is I like Victor Bailey at the point. I like his speed, what he brings. I like Vescovi. I think I see him more of a two-guard type guy. He's a good shooter. I wonder if it wouldn't benefit more. But the good thing is, and I've said it on here multiple times, they've got 4 to 5 ball handlers there. They've got kind of, I don't know if I'd say a log jam for minutes, but especially if Springer's out, now might be the time. And now that you've got a loss, because I've said up to this point, you don't mess with what's working. Your starting rotation and everything you're going with, you stay with it. Now that you've seen that, I had a tough night. Alabama really, it was a close game throughout the first half. Alabama really dominated them the second half, and Tennessee cut it to within 5 and 6. A couple times late, but never could get any closer. But Alabama shot lights out last night. They shot 50% from three-point range. Again, it's I thought it was an uncharacteristic performance last night. But we go back to Wednesday night against Missouri, and they just really, that was up to that point. That was the best team Tennessee had faced, and they blew them out of the building. And what changed from Wednesday night to last night, I don't know. Maybe it was difference in opponent, the way they played. I don't know. I don't think this is cause for alarm. It was going to happen at some point. you had Tennessee and West Virginia both beat yesterday, top 10 teams. Kansas got beat by Texas. It's just college basketball. You're getting into conference play and stuff. So we'll see how they rebound against another tough Arkansas team Wednesday night. Arkansas, I think I saw 9-1 on the season right now. Arkansas's, got a good team. They'll pose some problems, but how do they make up for Springer if he's not there? Who's going to kind of make up for his shooting, his minutes? It looked like Keon Johnson, of course, he's been doing his thing anyway, but he was a little more stepping up last night. I don't know that. I think it's just more or less, and Barnes, he called out the guys. He said, we've got to figure something out here I'm trying to think of the words I'm looking for here, basically maybe make up for some scoring or whatever. He point blank, he said, if they need to adjust minutes or whatever, and he said even John Fulkerson, he said he called Fulkerson out and said he didn't bring it last night, and he said that's a guy that's played a lot of ball here, and he didn't bring it, so even his minutes can be had. So that was, and I know you mentioned Vescovi. You can't rely on him just being a guy who wants to drive in and do underhanded layups all game and stuff, but I'm not really sure where that comment came from, but he definitely mentioned both of those guys. Of course, with Eve Pons is more of a, I guess I would say, a glue guy. He's never going to be a 20, 15, 20-point scorer. He may occasionally score big. He had 13 against Missouri, which was a season high, but just what he brings effort-wise, rebounding, blocks. He's a block shot machine, and just his defense as well. But, it didn't seem, just the amount of times Alabama was left open last night really surprised me. Tennessee's been really good at that this year, but we'll see where they go moving forward. I don't think this is cause for alarm. It's one game. It's one loss. Again, we're into January now, and I think they'll bounce back Wednesday night, and then they're at Texas A&M next week, South Carolina the week after that. So I think, definitely some winnable games moving forward, and we'll see how they bounce back, and hopefully Springer's back in the lineup sooner than later. But somebody needs to become, I think we're kind of seeing at this point, you're going to see Bailey, you're going to see Vescovi. That's going to be kind of maybe your main score. Fulkerson will at times. Fulkerson's, he was off last night, didn't have one of his better nights. And I really thought, and maybe Springer won't be out too long, that I would have liked to seen him. I think he was becoming the go-to guy. He and Fulkerson were tied for team high in points per game, and I think that was only going to increase going forward. I think his role was really about to increase. And, and I maintain Jaden Springer and Keon Johnson. I don't know that you're going to see them down there beyond this year. I hope so, obviously, but I really think they're one and done. If they're lottery picks, first-round pick, you can't blame them. And I think there's definitely a possibility they could be lottery picks. But it's time. I think, if you're going to see deduction of minutes, I think you got to have Pons, Fulkerson on the floor. But then I think Josiah-Jordan James, his minutes, I think he's a better player than what he's playing right now as well. I don't think he's been doing particularly well and stuff. But, Vescovi, Bailey, I think you could kind of switch their minutes. But I think it's really time to let Springer and Johnson kind of carry you scoring-wise. I think that's maybe your best two players, possibly. And, obviously Pons is the best athlete, and there's no doubt about it. And he does a lot. He's a stud. I mean, he really is. But he's not a big-time scorer. And there's been plenty of guys. There's Hall of Fame guys who weren't big scorers but did everything else right there. I mean, you think of Dennis Rodman. I mean, Rodman rarely ever scored double digits, but, man, he did everything else. And I'm not saying Pons is a Rodman-type guy. He doesn't rebound like him, but just kind of using that for example, guys that don't have to score a lot, but they do a whole lot there. But I expect Tennessee will bounce back this week. I'm curious to see how the minutes play out. I think some minutes, maybe some adjustments will be made. But, I still like Tennessee's chances to win the conference this year. I don't think the conference is deep, but here's the thing of it. It really doesn't matter where you're at right now. It matters where you're at in March. And we've seen that over the years. Tennessee's gotten to number one at times, but then come March, maybe they're not playing their best basketball at the time. So we'll see. And, just motivation. And we've seen that's something at times that I think my one criticism of Barnes is I feel like when at times Tennessee has a big win, then they come out and lay an egg the next game. Missouri was their big test that night. They come out and absolutely hit on all cylinders. And again, I'm not taking away from Alabama at all. Credit to them. They played a great game last night. They are a good team. They looked really good. But I thought I'm kind of criticizing Tennessee from an energy standpoint. I think back just, a couple years ago in the SEC tournament when they had that big comeback against Kentucky, turn around to play for the championship, and they got blown out of the building. No energy. Maybe that took it all out of them. Not to rehash history there, but anyway, we'll see how they rebound this week. Do they bring that energy? I definitely expect that it's going to be a tough few days of practice in Knoxville because Barnes definitely wasn't happy, and he's not afraid to change things like other coaches that are in Knoxville. If something's not going, he will change it up. So you can rest assured there. But I'll see you guys next week. I appreciate you tuning in. Again, make sure you hit that thumbs up. Make sure you hit like, and make sure you hit subscribe to Talkin VAWLS. Happy New Year to everyone. You all take care. Stay safe. I'll see you next week.